Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I'm Valentina Braida, Marketing Manager at Beontag. Thank you all for joining us today. We are excited to have you here for our webinar, Smart, Circular, and Connected, Scaling Reusable Packaging with RFID. I'm delighted to introduce our speakers. We have here Mr. Abdallah Ani, Senior Sales Manager at Beontag, and Jennifer Tigert, Head of Marketing at Vytal. So I will leave the floor to them. Enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Valentina. So again, hello, and thank you all for joining. My name is Abdallah Ani, Sales Manager at Beontag, one of the leading company manufacturing IoT solutions like RFID, BLE. And today I have with me Jennifer Tigert, Head of Marketing at Vytal, one of the leading suppliers of reusable packaging for the food industry. And with that, I will actually jump to the first slide. Maybe to ask a question why we are here today, or maybe what challenge are we trying to solve with the solution that we're proposing today. If we look on those two numbers on the left side, this gives us more than an insight about what we are facing today and in the future. So 1.6 billion tons of food are wasted every year globally. And we have disposable packaging generating 26% of global plastic waste. So I think, again, looking on only those numbers really shows the importance of having solution now and the future for tackling this challenge. And smart packaging, along or together with reusable solutions, are from our side, from our perspective, the key really, or one of the keys to mitigate this kind of scenario in the future. Smart packaging is basically a way or a solution to enable end-to-end traceability of a packaging, to make it very simple and to monitor basically the circulation, to monitor the entire supply chain, including basically the recycling. And with that, tracking basically the entire life cycle, we can also influence how and when we can recycle and end the cycle of those products without being ending, for example, in a sea or somewhere in the nature. But before jumping really in the solution and before jumping into the real material, let's just first look at the definition of smart packaging. So smart packaging consists of three main elements. The first element is connected packaging, which is basically the way how to transform a physical packaging to its, let's say, digital copy or digital twin, as many people say. And this you can do with many technologies. You can do it with RFID, with NFC, with QR code. So it's really just a way or a number that reflect this physical packaging to its digital twin. And then we have the intelligent packaging element, which is basically when you add to a packaging certain sensors like temperature to monitor the content, right? And then the last part, which is active packaging, it's more some additional elements or substances that you add to the content of packaging to alter, let's say, its condition, to make it keep its color or last longer, and so on. So all those three elements consist to what we call smart packaging. Today, just to be very to make basic the cut and to give you an understanding about what you are solving today. So today we're not really tackling basically all those challenges because this is too much to cover in one meeting. But really today we are looking more on the part that Vytal is active in, which is the food industry and packaging for basically restaurant and events and so on. So this is basically the part that we'll be focusing on today from all the topic that we discussed so far. From the market size and trends, we see actually steady growth of this smart packaging size or market size in the future, having on average 6.2% until 2030. And the interesting part is actually that almost half of this market share is for food and beverage. So basically, exactly where companies like Vital are located. And again, this shows really how much food and beverage is basically part of this problem, and why it's relevant really to solve also the solution from this side. We have two main, let's say, aspects driving those trends from the, let's say, market size. And the one size or the one aspect is basically the consumer side. So we see more and more consumer looking after basically claims on sustainability on the packaging, taking only packaging that is maybe on more paper, easier to recycle, and so on. And also people really checking information and more connection to on the packaging, basically to its origin. So we see in many cases like QR code on a packaging that gives insight about the origin of the food or of the content and so on. I think those are two main aspect that we see more and more from this perspective from the consumer side. But also we see a very great push from specifically in Europe, from the European Union, to have more regulatory pressure to reduce waste and promote circularity. When we come to the technologies, so there's not only one technology to achieve this. So again, we're talking in general about how to achieve this circularity. But you can do this with the QR code. You can do this with NFC. You can do this with RFID. Now, the choice of the right technology is really depending on the level of automation that you want to achieve. For example, with QR code, you need really an involvement of the operator who is basically scanning the QR code, or at least making sure that there is always a visible contact between the QR code and the camera scanning this QR code, which is, as you know, if you have big quantity, large quantity, it's not always easy to ensure. On the other hand, when you need high level of automation, in this case, RFID is one of the main or best technologies, because with RFID, you don't need any direct contact or visual contact between the camera or the tracking device and the packaging, because it's done with RF, radio frequency. So here, just to give you really a little bit of the insight about how and when to choose the right technology for your specific vertical and application. Using RFID now, speaking specifically about RFID, using RFID with the reusable packaging and returnable platforms give us four main advantages. The first one is really to ensure sustainability. So you can really make sure that, okay, you have certain packaging in circulation. When it's done from circulation, you make sure that you get it to the right place to get it recycled. Traceability as well, to ensure a real-time journey and visibility of your stock, of your inventory, with you or with third parties, or with the restaurants, for example. To have an accurate on-time supply chain, also reduce, for example, lead times, and make sure that you can tackle all challenges that we see with supply chain so far. And intelligence. On the one hand side, we can provide intelligence to the end consumer or to the end customer, seeing basically getting information about the product. On the same side, at the same time, we can also make sure that we can collect or the manufacturer can collect data from the packaging in the environment or in the circulation, to really ensure also that we can support the right product to the right consumer at the right time. So all those aspects really are additional advantages that we can ensure using RFID with the returnable packaging. And Beontag is again one of the main manufacturer and leading manufacturer in this domain. We provide identification and digital transformation products like RFID, like BLE, and also we provide graphic and label materials for packaging among other, but also for other product. So in total, Beontag consists of two business units. The first one is basically where we kind of focus today more about or on is the DTE, Digital Transformation Enabler business unit here on the left side, where we deal again with mainly RFID labels and tags and IoT enablers like NFC and BLE. On the right side, this is a second business unit that we have at Beontag, which is mainly dealing with the graphic and label materials for packaging, among other, but also for other products. When we look, I'm not gonna deep dive here more in depth because that's gonna extend or just gonna be outside of the range of this meeting, of this webinar. But let's say on the high level perspective, just to give you an understanding about what product categories we have at Beontag. On the right side, we have what we call standard high volume inlays and labels. So basically, all kind of simple labels that have low durability, low robustness, and serve basically short-term type of application. In the middle, we have all kind of industrial grade tags based in labels. Basically, those are very robust, very durable labels that you can use many years for in many cycles. Those are washable, waterproof, dustproof, and so on. So really robust product that you can use for specifically this case cycled assets. And on the right side, we have a big portion actually of our product portfolio is customized product. So we have large product portfolio already existing on our shelf, but we also engage with our customers on customized product if they have specific needs that are not or cannot be met with the existing products that we have on our portfolio. Here again, I'm not going to deep dive into that, but just to give you an essence or a feeling about what are the aspects affecting the right choice for RFID for your application, okay, or for your asset. So we have here various aspects. For example, the application method, the environmental factors, if there's like humidity, if there is like a high temperature. If it has to be tamper-proof, what kind of data privacy we are looking at. So there are many aspects that we look at to ensure that you get the right product for your application. But this is really then demand separate meetings or separate discussion to understand more the specification that you have, and then really to propose for you the right type of product. And with this, I want to make a link to one of our newest products that we have on the market. And this is really also specifically designed for this kind of application that we're talking about today, which is smart packaging for the food industry, what we call the E-Wave. The E-Wave is an RFID tag that is microwave compliant. So basically, you can put it not only once in the microwave and it's not working anymore after that, but you can put it up to 50 or 60 cycles in the microwave without being damaged. And this really we can ensure that whatever packaging you put it on, you can use it in circulation for many cycles before this gets scrapped or recycled. And this will also add an additional advantage or value for this challenge that we've seen at the beginning of this slide of this presentation. We add value and we ensure that at least we have part of the solution to do there. So it's again, so it's an RFID enabled food label. And it was a finalist at Sustainability Award 2025 as a most innovative pre-commercialized packaging solution in the circular economy category. With that, I would hand over to Jennifer basically to drive us through Vytal to the company and also the solution that they are doing at the moment globally. Meanwhile, to be frank, over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Abdallah, and thank you for the introduction, and also thank you for Valentina. Yeah, hi everyone. Again, I'm Jennifer from Vytal Global, and I'm leading the marketing team here, and I'm responsible for demand generation. And I'm really excited today to show you how a reuse can scale also commercially, thanks to technology and tracking and the convenience, what's behind it. And let me start. I know not everyone knows Vytal, but we will change that for sure. To give you a brief overview what or where we are stand today, as you can see here on the slide, we are currently the largest reuse provider in the world, and we're operating in 21 countries globally with over 7,000 business partners around several areas. And we achieve an incredible return rate of actually 99.2% right now. Which is amazing, with partners like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, KFC, Pizza Hut, Disney, to name a few, and also for our European, it's the Euro and the Olympics, where we are make a huge difference. And that shows also that reuse isn't a sustainability experiment anymore. It's where we provide that it's scalable, that it's a scalable business reality, actually. Coming up to the next slide, please. So as you can see here on the map, just to show you exactly what the scale looks like, we are active across Europe, the US, Australia, New Zealand, which is amazing. And we focus on high traffic places like stadiums, festivals, universities, restaurants, and canteens. So that means every new deployment strengthens the infrastructure for your use and makes single use less necessity. And that's what it's all about. Next slide. Yeah, powered by innovative technology. What does it really mean for us? Technology is really the key to scale reuse. And to showcase this here, we can start with Apple. Apple, like Vytal, was recognized by Apple as a leading reuse app in Europe. And then we also integrate with Uber Eats, Stripe. This is like a payment service provider, and major other POS systems. And also we've been featured by the Harvard Business Review for our data-driven circular economy approach. So we connect the physical container with the digital tracking and automation, and that's what really creates like reliability and scale. So how do we enable that at scale? That means here you can see basically through automation, through technology, and of course the necessary data. Coming up to the next one. Yeah, I want to like deep dive a little bit here in the circle, the economic value, and how reuse must really work. So reuse must work financially for businesses and the end consumer, or let's say user. And with Vytal, we have like the operations are plug and play, the traceability stops losses, and RFID scanning cuts labor. So consumers don't really need to change their behavior, and this is what makes it so much easier and like putting it on a day-to-day basis. So that really means in total reuse has to be easier than single use. And we do that, and that what makes the adoption also growing so fast. And that is what we as Vytal basically deliver here. Not what we're trying, this is what we really deliver right now in the current state. Now up to the next one. Yeah, here you can see the different, like I already said, where we are operating right now in restaurants, canteens, venues, events, and in the QSR industry. So as Abdullah already said in the beginning, what is it all about? Single-use packaging creates huge waste. Food service is the first sector to shift. Why so? Like we have in all these categories, big volumes, we have like many repeat users, and we have in these cases also proven business cases. So they all need a consistent solution that works in different operations. And that's why we build like the fully service connecting reuse infrastructure. What that really means, I will like explain a little bit more in the next slide. That Vytal is really one solution for everything. And let me like explain it a little bit more here. So we are the one partner for the whole reuse system. So that means for reusable containers, we have the RFID chip and the QR code, and additionally a high quality portfolio for basically everything. When it comes, what if you imagine whatever you like really need in your day-to-day basis, we make it happen. Doesn't matter if it's like in the stadiums, in your canteen, the restaurant, on festivals. It's about to eliminate the single use for all. Then with the operations, we are taking on the washing, the logistics, the warehousing, the tracking, like the full, like a full service agency really. At the point of sale, we want to make sure that we are like having fast, intelligent scanning with automation, so that you're not losing or wasting any time here, and to make it as easy as possible for the end consumer. And with the engagement part here in the last pile, we are like having the digital nudge to ensure returns. And I've already mentioned that we have like the amazing return rate. And with our system, we make sure that we are really sustainable and yeah, not doing like the greenwashing, or we can show you with the data that it is really there. So you can see in real time your return rate. So what's the overall like why is it so convenient, and why should it be like Vytal? Instead of many suppliers, you have one provider, you have one platform, and you have one source of truth for all your data. And that's how reuse is scaling, and that's how reuse is becoming profitable in the end, really. Coming to the next slide, and there we can see that we're having our rack connection here when we're talking about the amazing product that we developed here. Yeah, to give it a little bit more overview, RFID is 100% microwave safe, like Abdullah already said, and we were testing it successfully and already still testing it with a large caterer in Denmark. And fair to say that the operators really love it because it keeps the checkout fast, it still protects the container tracking, everyone is just being happy. And that means that RFID is really essential for scaling reuse, and it's the enabler for automation and performance really, which yeah, also leads us to the positive feedback that we get, and that we want to also multiplicate a lot in the future. I think to wrap it up, we can come to the I think the last slide from my side today.
This was the last
Okay,
one, Jennifer.
that that
But you
was
can you can you
that
can
was
you
a
can
lot.
wrap it up with what you want to say.
I think what we always say and what our co-CEO always says and our funder is our main mission is to make reuse really the global standard, and that Vital is scaling with technology. We prove it commercially, and we want to remove the single-use waste, like container by container, cup by cup, and so on. So yeah, and we have a good partner to do so and to really succeed in the future, and yeah, getting that goal ready. So yeah, thank you so much. I think that's all from my side, and I know that we have enough time for your questions, and I would love to take on to Valentina again, as she is moderating the questions for
Thank you,
us.
Jennifer, and thank you both for the excellent presentation. So as mentioned, the Q&A session is now open. So if you want to submit your questions, feel free in the chat. You can submit, and the speakers will answer you. Let's not be shy. Share your questions.
Or if there, so they can share questions only via chat, or they can speak. The
They
attendees.
can share the questions via chat in the Q&A section.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, I don't know, Jennifer, if you want to share some insights about the interesting partners that you presented in the first slide. We saw so many important names. So if you want to tell us more about these applications.
Yeah, it's really great because, for example, speaking about operating globally, we are signed a contract with Oracle Park. I know that not everyone knows them, but this is like the biggest stadium in the US, in San Francisco. And it's really great to see that even it's like the American market, we can say that we are having a return rate, I think, above 80%. We just started there, so that really means that also the consumers, they really are getting it, and that the system works, and yeah, with everything else, it's really good that this has such a positive impact. And the other thing is we are speaking about stadiums, because it's like an reoccurring event. When you think about football stadiums or soccer stadiums and so on, you have like several plays a week, which is great because this is like a huge opportunity to get everyone involved here. Yeah, and there's so much more to come. We recently also we have in Chick-fil-A here. This is also a fast food company, but they're quite as big as, for example, I don't know if it's really right, but from what I heard, like Burger King, they have over 7,000 stores in the US as well, and they're running with us a huge pilot. So there's a lot going on, and yeah. Speaking of RFID, that gives us such a huge benefit to do so, because every one of these new partners, they know exactly how important it is to have the data, to really like plan ahead, to be prepared, to be really, really sustainable, and to show an impact.
Maybe I have a question actually to you, Jennifer. So in some cases, I can imagine how the circle is closed between the end consumer and basically back to you or to the restaurant. For example, at the event, I can imagine there should be like stations where basically the consumer can put their cups or the boxes that they get, for example. But the question that I have is, for example, if I'm at home and I get basically something delivered at home with Vital packaging, how can I close the loop from my side and really make sure that it's it's getting back to you, or so how can you give us some examples here on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. When we speak about restaurants and delivery services, we call it like the open system. And what that means is when I order my food in Vital containers, I can easily have a look at the website, but everyone is usually using the app. And there you will find all the partners nearby where you can just drop your containers afterwards.
Okay.
And you have like an XYZ period of time where you can do so. And even if you want to extend that time, this is, yeah, no problem really. So it's very, very easy to yeah, get the containers and cups back to the circle.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of like transparency and yeah, having like not so much obstacles for the consumer to think, okay, what can I do? But yeah, I have to take it back. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But this is also like our recycle system is yeah, basically the same really. And in canteens, it's easier, as you already said, and in stadiums, you have all the return bins along the area, so that's more easier. But yeah, you have to adapt it in your daily routine.
Okay. No, but sounds great. I mean, 99% return rate. This is amazing. I think you never see this high rate in any other business. So it's really amazing. This shows that it's working, and it's definitely something that need to be adopted in even higher scale.
Yeah, what's
We
always nice is we always say that our return rate is actually higher than the German recycle rate for the
Higher,
bottles.
higher, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
yes.
assume so. I would assume so. Amazing, yeah.
we have
But
Valentina?
some questions,
yeah,
guys.
go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
first of all, are you using RFID stickers or IML tags for your reusable caps?
This is actually for both of
Yeah,
us, right?
yeah, for
This is
both of them. I think it's more for you, Jennifer.
yeah, I would say.
Yes, and it's the answer is we using IML tags for our reusable cups because like stickers, they will not last as long. And as another insight, as you can use the cups up to or even more than we say, like they should be used at least 600 times. So and that's not possible with stickers.
Thank you. And then we have these that I think is more for you, Abdallah, because it's related on how RFID works on different materials. So it's which cups works best for you, plastic or metal?
So I think in this specific case, plastic for sure, um, because of the structure of the RFID label. So on metal, the RFID label should be a little bit thicker, and this in this specific case reduces basically the lifetime because it's gonna be easily peeled off. So I think in this specific case. Plastic is RFID labels for plastic is the better option. But also talking to materials, we have different labels. Like in general, talking about RFID labels, the main differentiation between two labels is basically the size, the adhesive, and the read range. So the adhesive is one of the main differentiator on RFID labels. And we have there basically multiple options depending on the material on the surface. If it's like metal, if it's plastic, if it's something else, we always can find the right adhesive basically for this specific metal or a surface. Sorry. I hope this answered the questions.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Abdallah.
You're welcome.
And another interesting question here. What is the toughest part of convincing a partner to join you? I'm asking since most of partners might be reluctant to avoid using single use. So what are the drivers to convince them? This is for you, Jennifer.
So to answer that very honestly, that honest is first of all you have to like see where you're located. So for example, in Europe, we have new regulations coming up, so that means they have to do it. But that shouldn't be the driver here really. When it comes to going the next step, reuse should be more easier, and it's more cost efficient. So we can really make a huge difference, and having here like making their life easier when they don't have the option to wash. We can do that. We like deliver the containers to them. We're getting them back, and vice versa. And at the end, it needs to be cost relevance. So, and we are able to do so and support the partner that we taking care of everything basically. So he has not to worry about anything really.
But maybe just to add here, I think it's really about to think about what is adding value for the partner, and in some cases, the consumer is asking for it. So this is why the when a partner or when a new customers wants to use returnable packaging is basically at least in some of the cases they want to make sure that their end customers are getting what they want, and if the consumer is asking for something more sustainable, then this is definitely one of the things that driving this decision. Yeah, for sure. Adding on the other hand side, regulatory stuff that force sometimes in some cases restaurant or other customers to go that way, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. It was a good yeah, that's a good thing to mention here, that they need to do or to hear the customers. We had this at the Manchester University, that student always complained about the waste and their overflowing bins and
Yeah.
like having waste everywhere. And now they're solving that problem. They have like very cute, like own little cups, and this is really the way to go. And here we have the new generation really like driving the movement, and that's also a huge factor.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think that this connects to another question that we received, that is, what uncertainties remain regarding the logistics of collecting, returning, and redistributing reusable containers on large festival grounds, especially for festivals located in rural areas?
This is, I think,
Um,
for Jennifer, right?
Yes, still for
yeah.
Jennifer.
So with the festivals, as I already said, we are like reusable. Like we have our system, our digital system, and we are like actually the global leader here. And with our tracking system, it's for our operating team very easy to do so. We have the boxes, and we can track exactly which of food stand is ordering them. We can see if they're running out. They can easily order new containers or cups via the app. The ordering process is yeah, very fast, very easy. And then you get like notifications when they're running out of it, when this needs to be washed, and to do so. So it's for us, there's no problem. We had a fair about over 3 days with like over 100,000 visitors, and they had like a huge number of food stands and bars, and it ran very smoothly here. You can imagine that, for example, the Euro, there you have to really stand out, and they need to make sure that everything is running really good and without any issues, and smoothly. So this is always the one I tell everyone to, okay, this is where Vytal operates.
Absolutely.
Great questions. More of that.
Yeah. We have now one for you, Abdallah,
Okay.
about the e-wave.
Yeah.
Has it been tested to ensure that tags still work after being microwaved?
Yes, absolutely. If I remember correctly, so again, I need to peek again on the data sheet. But if I remember correctly, I think we've tested up to 50 or 60 cycles with the maximum with the maximum power, and after it was still functioning. I cannot say now how long further, but at least 50 or 60 cycles, those labels were actually still functioning with the highest power. So we know not every time we use the highest power for 3 minutes, for example, but this is what we tested.
And it also resists to dishwasher cycles.
Absolutely. So here again, when we come to the adhesive part, we are using here the strongest adhesive really to make sure that once stick on a packaging, this adhesive can really also survive those long washing cycles or the washing cycle in general, to ensure really also that this tag will continue following the packaging until the life cycle end of the packaging. So yes, we are making sure here that this label, the adhesive, is compliant also with the dishwasher.
Amazing. We have another one here that is for both of you, maybe more for Jennifer. What type of RFID are you using? I guess this is more related to the type of technology, so if it's NFC or UHF, and with which type of products?
Maybe Abdallah can answer that because
I
this is
think,
like
yeah,
very deep dive.
from what I know, it's mainly RFID, because so NFC, it's used when you want to create this link to the end consumer in most of the cases, and in this specific vertical, let's say, or application, this is not needed because every time the content of the packaging is different, so it doesn't make sense to put anything on the NFC. So in most cases at the moment, it's for RFID to ensure basically the supply chain tracking. So it's RFID. And what was the second part of the question, Valentina?
On which product it's applied?
I think on
Which
all
type of
products, right?
product?
So it's at the moment, not the e-wave. So I think the e-wave is only put on product specifically designed uh, for the canteen vertical, right, Jennifer? And for the
Yes.
others, for the cups and the normal packaging, we are talking about standard RFID, I think in mold, IML. And for the one for the caterer, basically vertical, there we are using, or Vital is using the E-Wave, just also to ensure that this the heating in the microwave is given. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer.
No, that's absolutely correct. Thank you. And I already can answer the question about the where is the tag attached to the button or to the side of the cup. It's on the because when you are also connecting this to a payment technology, we have like when you order the food, you have to make sure that the cup is standing on a platform, and then it can easily be in the process tracked. So this is the reason why it's always on the bottom of the cup, for example, and it's always on the bottom of a plate or bowl or whatever it is, basically, to make sure that the tracking is running smoothly.
Thank you, Jennifer. So I have here a few more questions. What about the remaining liquids in the cups? So does this leftover influence the reading quality? This is the first question. And still part of the same question, what is the max bulk reading capacity in the process? This is for you, Abdallah.
So yes, whatever we have, let's say, as a remaining in the cup, in worst case, this is for sure affecting a little bit the reading, but not much. I mean, depending on, because RFID or the RF technology is also can be readable through food or water or liquid in general. So there is some effect, but this will not be huge. And if I understand the usage correctly, let's say if you are so when you put those cups, for example, back in the circulation, in most cases, I think those will be empty, right? So because when you stack them, when you stack those cups on top of each other, in 99% of the cases, the water or whatever liquid will be inside, it will be out. So I think from that perspective, we should not be concerned, let's say. Um, and from the readability, I think I've seen already 300 labels being reading in one shot. So, but I know that it can be also more. So I think up to 500, maybe more. It's depending always on, let's say, on the power and the setup that you have. But 300 and more labels to be read in one shot, this is very standard, I think. So again, it's always depending on if you are using a handheld or if you are using like a fixed antenna, and depending on the power that you are using, you can actually read, I don't know, multi-hundred of labels in one shot. This is what we call the bulk reading. And like,
Yeah.
I think there is no limit if you to go up. The limit, the only limit is the physical one, basically the size or the level of the antenna and so on.
Great. Last one, I would say we received a lot of questions.
That's
If
good.
you have more, yeah, this is good. But if you have more after the session is done, feel free to share with us and to contact our speakers, and they will be more than happy to answer you. So you mentioned earlier, Jennifer, that you put the tag in the bottom. So they are asking here how to recycle the cups at the end of the life with the tag in the bottom.
Yeah, so the recycling process is not as easy as the one without the RFID tag, but in the process, you get the RFID chip out of the plastic. So you have to how do you say that? Not transfer, you have to take them apart, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this is the process that we like. This is a very common process, which is already done.
But unfortunately, well, I mean, it's depending on the definition. The RFID label is considered as electronic device, right? Although it's actually only chip and an antenna. So it's not really a device by itself, but from the definition point of view, they have defined it as a electronic device, and this is why it has to be recycled as electronic device. And this is why it cannot be directly recycled together with the cup, but it need to be split. But this is, as Jennifer mentioned, standard procedure for any electronic device. How it is recycled. We split the plastic from the PCB, and every part goes its separate way.
Yeah, exactly. And just to make sure, because I also read it and I get these questions a lot because I asked them first when I started at Vital, the RFID is not tracking a real-time locations, just to mention it. We identify with the RFID tag each item and we can record events. So we can see where it is picked up, where is it returned, where is it washed, and so on, to just simply answer that right now.
Right. It's basically it's a passive device, so it only gives you its location or direction when you really scan it with an antenna or with a handheld device. So that's why I think, yeah, it's only basically so you can only get the position where you have actually your own antenna. Okay, so whatever you get actually the position of your own antenna. Because this is where you read the device or the RFID label.
Exactly. Do we have time for the last question?
I
I
think,
think I
think
think
yes.
so. Why do you not use disposable RFID labels in this case?
Can you repeat? This is a familiar question.
The question is, why do you, I think it's for Jennifer, not use disposable RFID labels in this case, like standard RFID labels?
That's actually a great last question, I think, and we hear that quite often from venues and tech partners. And there's like, yeah, I can answer that in two. It really defeats the purpose of the reuse because I already said you can reuse the cup like to a certain amount of time, and over 600 and more. We can even say like up to 1,000 times, and you cannot do it when you don't make sure that the RFID tag is really like on a high quality and within the cup itself. So they will not survive the rushing and the reuse if we would like do it like that. So, and this was the other thing is if we would do it like that, doing it like a disposable, that will increase also the cost because we have to replace them after a while. And yeah, it's just all about to being really being reusable and to be like to create the circular economy.
And this is altering your process because if you have to replace this every time, then this is additional time that you have to put in your process, and time is money. So this is altering, as you mentioned, the entire advantages of having a reusable packaging.
Yes, I hope that answers the question. Thank you, Abdallah.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so thank you again for your insightful presentation, Abdallah and Jennifer, and thank you to all our audience to join us.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
How how is everyone like getting our contact afterwards?
We will share this recording with all the people joining together with your contacts.
Okay,
Nice.
great.
Okay, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us anytime, me or Jennifer. We'll be there for you to answer your questions. Have a great evening, everyone, or
Have a
afternoon.
great
Thank you so
day.
much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.